That was the best mic drop I have ever seen. Hey guys, what's up? So we just got the episode 3 of Queen's Justice of this season's Game of Thrones. And while this episode was very, very dialogue heavy, it was very word heavy, a lot of stuff happened. Like, we might not have had as much action as we thought we were gonna get, but a lot of stuff did happen. Right away, we start off the episode at Dragonstone, which I thought this was gonna take a lot longer. The meeting between Fire and Ice, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen finally come together. But before the meeting of Daenerys and Jon, we actually get the reunion of Tyrion and Jon. And these two got along really, really well in season 1 of the show, which, again, it's great to see the chemistry that these characters have after not seeing them together for like 7 years. You know, the bastard of Winterfell and the dwarf of Casterly Rock, as they call each other, and that coming from anybody else would have been a complete insult, but it's those two. They have that kind of chemistry. And what was it? A dwarf is a bastard, and every dwarf is a bastard in their dwarf, and fuck! I give up, whatever. You know what I'm talking about, I said it in the last video. I liked Jon and Davos' reaction to seeing the dragons for the first time. They reacted like any normal man would have, and they just like literally shit their pants basically. As soon as they flew over their head, they just dropped to the floor. And Tyrion has a funny line, he's like, I wish I could say you could get used to that, but you don't. There's also a really nice line from Tyrion, which was
Stark men don't fare well when they travel south. True. But I'm not a Stark.
Which is also really great because Dany later on in the episodes goes like, you know, I'm the last Targaryen, and everybody that like watches the show now, and people that have read the books and, you know, that have speculated this for forever, just like look at each other and we're all just like, that's what you think. And there was also a really short scene between Melisandre and Varys. They might not be like main characters that we know like so much about, but they're just two really well-built, you know, like secondary characters at this point. Melisandre says, you know, my job has been completed at this point. I shouldn't even be down there with Jon because I'll just be a distraction because, you know, they did not leave things off very well. And she says, you know, I did what I had to do. I, you know, brought together Fire and Ice. And says she's going to Volantis, so we'll see what, you know, what Melisandre does from now on. But before she goes, Varys, you know, kind of says, I would not recommend that you come back to this kingdom, and she lets us know a little bit of insight as to what's to come with her character, and not just her character, but Varys' character as well. She's like, I gotta come back because just like you, I'm destined to die in this strange land. So, you know, Melisandre's predictions have been wrong before, but that means that Varys and Melisandre will probably not see the end of Game of Thrones, and honestly, I'm not surprised. I feel like Varys' time has come, and Melisandre has definitely expired at this point. I did not mean that in any rude way to women, by the way. Anyways, to the meeting of Fire and Ice, which we were all waiting for like 7 years at this point. Right away, I see why I love these characters individually and away from each other, and why I don't like them together. Because as expected, they obviously did not get along. You know, Dany's a Targaryen, Jon is a Stark right now. You can tell how different both characters were just by the way they were introduced, which was one of the funniest scenes in Game of Thrones history. Missandei is just like, this is, you know, you're standing before Daenerys Targaryen, the Mother of Dragons, Breaker of Chains, Khaleesi of the Great Sea, Queen of the blah 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 blah. And then when she's done, there's just like this awkward pause, and Jon looks at Davos.
This is Jon Snow. He's king in the north.
And he then reminds Jon of the Stark Oath of Perpetuity, which, you know, it basically means they swore an oath for life. They will forever be, you know, bannermen of House Targaryen. But obviously, they are no longer bannermen of House Targaryen because of Robert's Rebellion. And then she has this really great line when Jon, you know, is like, break faith with you. I didn't come here to break faith with you. Your family killed my parents. You know, not my parents, my grandfather and my uncle. And then she goes like, you know, don't, you know, judge a daughter by the sins of her father, which is kind of great that she brings that up right now, because one episode ago, Jon literally said, I'm not going to judge children for their mistakes of their fathers. And that's just kind of great how that ties them together. They talk in this episode about how Tyrion loves to talk, and I'm glad he loves to talk because he's got great one-liners. And it's, when Davos is referencing the Battle of Blackwater Bay, he's like, you know, we almost took King's Landing that day, and then Tyrion just butts in, he's like, yeah, almost. I stopped you. Davos again shutting it down with a great speech, just like he did at the Iron Bank of Bravos, just like he's done at Bear Island. He just shuts it down. He's like, he has a great speech about why his ruler, the ruler that he's serving at the time, is a ruler that should be listened to at that point.
He faced those things. He fought those things for the good of his people. He risked his life for his people. He took a knife in the heart for his people. He gave his own...
Get out. Down to King's Landing, we have a super hard, another super hard march through the streets of King's Landing. I hate the people of King's Landing at this point. I don't care if they all die. That's my personal opinion. We find out he doesn't give Yara to Queen Cersei, he just keeps her for himself. Euron, I'm talking about, by the way. Cersei says, yeah, I will marry you, Euron, thank you for this gift, but it's gonna be after the war. And I'm pretty sure she's gonna betray him and eventually kill him, hopefully. Now, the Cersei and Ilaria torture scene, but I think it's totally justified. I think out of everyone Cersei's killed, this is the most justified death, because Ilaria did kill Marcella, and Marcella was a victim of war. She didn't deserve to die. She was a young girl trying to find love, and, she did with Trystane, who also died, who was part of Ilaria's family, which just doesn't make any sense to me. It was a beautiful and, scary performance by Lena Headey. And at the end of it, there's another twist on the Mad Queen theme. I love hearing it.
No, it's just not right.
After that, Cersei and Jaime go full on incest mode, and we see that Cersei no longer cares if anybody knows that they're having sex. I also just think that she's trying to play Jaime, here, I'll, have sex with you. Go do what I have to do. Go do what I tell you. The only other thing that happens is that the Iron Bank needs their money back, so they sent somebody to go get it, and Cersei's like, give me 1 second, I'll get you your money, don't worry, and she does. Back over at Dragonstone, Jon looks so much like Ned, it's kind of scary.
You look a lot better brooding than I do.
There's a talk with Tyrion and stuff, and he's like,
If someone told me about the White Walkers and the Night King...
he sounds crazy, but it's true, these things are real. By the end of it, Dany lets Jon have the dragon glass, which is why Jon went down there in the first place. And Jon, basically tells her, I don't even want the crown, I was elected, I can't give you this crown, I have to serve my people.
We all enjoy what we're good at.
I don't.
Back at Winterfell, we have Stark Reunion 2.0, Bran comes home.
Hello, Sansa.
I want you guys to notice the similarities between how Bran met Sansa and how Hot Pie and Arya talked last episodes. Arya and Bran are just both so disconnected with who they used to be. They're just completely different people at this point. And I want to see that dynamic work out when all the Stark children are back at Winterfell, which is hopefully next episode. Other than Jon. Also, he scares the crap out of Sansa when Hughie tells her how beautiful the night of her wedding to Ramsay was. It was a beautiful scene, but it was just awful to watch afterwards.
In your white wedding dress.
I have to go back inside, Bran.
I'll stay a bit longer.
We head over to Old Town and we see that Jorah has survived Grayscale. He beat it. And Sam's rewarded with not being expelled from the Citadel. Jorah's hopefully heading off to Dragonstone to be back with his Khaleesi, and I'm totally happy for him. She's still not gonna love you, man, I'm sorry. Alright, which leaves us with only 2 other things to talk about, and that's the attack on Casterly Rock. Before that though, I do want to talk about something. Dany really wants to send her dragons out after Euron, but she can't go herself. So I think that this is where the dragon seeds are gonna come in, and which dragon seeds are, if you watch the histories and lore of Westeros. They had bastards on the island, and they had other dragons that didn't have riders, so the bastards would claim the riders, and that's why they'd be called the dragon seeds. I think that's what she's gonna do with Jon, hopefully. We don't know yet. Anyways, Casterly Rock looks amazing. There's cool dialogue from Tyrion, again, while the attack is going on. He's explaining everything that should be happening at Casterly Rock, and what he's saying is making sense, and it's happening till the very last second. But there's this one good line. It was
Give me 10 good men, and I'll impregnate the bitch.
That was just really cool visual. That was the battle scene. The battle scene might not have been as epic as we thought it was going to be, but just that scene. We saw it in the trailer too, though. But it's still a cool scene to watch. So while Grey Worm and the Unsullied were attacking Casterly Rock, Jaime was actually heading over to Highgarden to take it from Olenna Tyrell. Grey Worm does take Casterly Rock, but then we see Euron's fleet burn the entire, all of the remaining ships of the Unsullied. So now they have to actually march across Westeros to head back to Dragonstone, which will definitely, it's gonna be a journey, you know, like if they even make it out of Casterly Rock alive. While that's happening, Jaime is having one last discussion with Olenna Tyrell. They did take Highgarden, so that's basically the end of the Tyrells.
And now the rains weep o'er our halls.
With his talk with Olenna, we see just how blind, again, Jaime is to Cersei. She can do whatever she wants, and Jaime will always be by her side. Olenna has been known to have, like, some of the best dialogues, and, like, right up there with Tyrion, the best, like, just one-liners, and, you know, she's the Queen of Thorns. But she's got the best dying words ever. And we all know, since Season 4, that Olenna is actually responsible for Joffrey's death, and now Jaime knows as well, because her last words were,
Tell Cersei, I wanted to know it was me.
mic drop, that's it, end of the episode. Goodbye, Olenna, goodbye, Queen of Thorns. You will definitely be missed, because you were a great character. What I'm looking forward to next week is definitely Cat's Paw, because we saw it come back into play, and this is the first time it's going to come into play since Season 1, and it might mean the end to one of my least favorite characters in the entire series, and I can't be happier. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys thought. I like this episode. Again, it's not one of my favorites, not one of my least favorites, but a lot happened. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down and tell me why. Again, let me know what you guys thought, and I will catch you guys later.